New F1 season is fast approaching, and this year it is all changed thanks to perhaps the most radical overhaul of the technical regulations in the history of the sport. New PU, new futuristic movable wings, and sustainable fuels are just a few of the major changes that the teams are having to grapple with since the end of 2025. Getting your head around all of these changes is no small task, so we put together a handy guide providing a full overhaul of the season and a few predictions as well. The previous generation of hybrid power units, which have been powering the sport since 2014, have been finally replaced with a solution that is technically far less complicated. The complex MG was not only no longer road relevant, but also proving to be a stumbling block when it came to attracting new manufacturers to the sport, owing to the difficulty and experience required to master the technology. It is in place an enhanced Energy UK, which now offers 350 kilowatts of power, up from 120. This should provide approximately 470 brake horsepower as part of the sport's aim to achieve a 50-50 split between electric power and a 1.6 litre internal combustion engine. The removal of the Energy not only simplifies the technology, but also results in the 2026 engine sounding louder, something that will no doubt please fans. One of the biggest criticisms of the previous generation of cars was size and weight, both of which crept up substantially. The 2026 cars aim to address this by mandating a 200mm reduction in wheelbase and a 100mm reduction in width. As a result, the FIA has reduced the minimum weight by 30 kilograms to 768. This has been a major cause for concern for the teams, with the dimensional changes not necessarily being sufficient to achieve the targeted weight reduction. Most teams have therefore been on a major weight loss program over the winter, and any car comes close to achieving the target is likely to gain a competitive advantage. To put this into perspective, 10 kilogram of extra weight is worth roughly 0.3 of a second. The gap between the first and last qualifying session in Abu Dhabi was just 1.6 seconds. One team is thought to have faced the biggest obstacle with Williams, with rumours circulating they could be as much as 20 kilograms over the weight limit. Using qualifying times for the same Grand Prix as a barometer, that could be the difference between qualifying first and ninth. Another major change ahead of the season is the introduction of active aero. Drivers will be manually able to adjust the front and rear wings of the car depending on the section of the circuit they're approaching. Drivers will be able to switch to low drag X mode on the straights and then high driving force Z mode. This will improve efficiency on the straights, increasing top speeds, also enhancing fuel efficiency. Those familiar with the previous regulations will know that DRS used over the past 14 years to help overtaking within 1 second. However, the introduction of active aero means there'll be no DRS. It's being replaced by a manual override mode, whereby drivers receive additional boost if they're within 1 second of arrival. Unlike DRS, drivers will be able to deploy it whenever they choose across the lap. It's even possible to spread the usage over the course of a lap rather than using all the available power in one burst. While the car's changes will be clearly visible, an unforeseen factor could dramatically influence the running order is the introduction of fully sustainable fuels. From the start of the new season, all cars will be required to use 100% advanced sustainable fuels that's completely carbon neutral, delivered from non-food biomass, municipal waste or carbon capture. This is expected to lead to a 65% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions from each car. These fuels are likely to play a major role in the future of road cars, with F1 hoping to attract some of the biggest OEMs. You can therefore expect it to become just as much of a battleground as car and engine development, with Shell, Petronas, ExxonMobil, Aramco and BP likely to invest heavily sponsoring their teams. For the first time in a decade, F1 also has a new team, Cadillac, owned by American businessman Dan Towers. The 10 existing teams finally approved it. Securing prime advertising slot during the Super Bowl to launch a new car demonstrates its ambition, and it will be running a Ferrari engine this year, but it hopes to run its own by the end of the decade. There's certainly no shortage of experience in its lineup, with Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez taking it, and Audi has been long linked to an F1 entry, and the 2026 regulations finally convinced them to come in. Audi will build its own engine from the outset, but they've taken over Sauber kit from last year. The driver lineup remains the same: Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto, but it'll be interesting to see how they get on. And one of the biggest moves of the past year was Adrian Newey's decision to leave Red Bull and join Aston. The most successful designer in F1 history, Newey won 13 Drivers' Championship and 12 Constructors' Championship with Williams, McLaren, Red Bull, and oversaw Red Bull's transformation from underdog to dominant force. Expectations were therefore high with Newey's intriguing design. However, in testing, the car's proven unreliable and difficult to drive. Much of that can be blamed on Honda, who have reportedly struggled. They've also completed fewer miles than anyone else, so it looks like they could well be at the back. The only rookie driver this year is Arvid Lindblad, who's joining VCARB. Despite an underwhelming F2 campaign, Red Bull have been impressed with his work on the sim, and expectations remain high. And of course, that Lindblad will be joining for a Red Bull team who will be using their own power unit for the first time ever. So yeah, that's going to be intriguing to see how they get on with that. Obviously supported by Ford as well, but early impressions seem like it could be quite positive. In terms of calendar, we've got Madrid, a new street circuit there, replacing Imola, which will be an intriguing I think track to go on, a street circuit in the capital city. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, despite Red Bull's apparent electrical advantage, many believe Mercedes are in the best position. While its advantage is unlikely to be pronounced this time, Ferrari and Red Bull will push them closely. And George Russell, you'd say he is ready for a championship challenge if they can get the best car. But you know, world champions McLaren also use that car. Lando Norris will be desperate to make it too. Ferrari, though, have made significant progress. Few innovative aerodynamic solutions. Charles Leclerc will be there or thereabouts, and can Lewis Hamilton have a comeback season? So yeah, so many questions to answer coming into the season. It looks like we're in for a very interesting season ahead.
Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.